If you are 55 or older, you've built a life at the same house, you've raised a family, now they're all gone, you're an empty nester, or maybe you're just trying to relocate to another area, to another city where you get more sunshine. It's as simple as that. But in achieving that goal, there are so many questions. Like, one of the more important ones is, should I buy or should I just rent for some time? These are all important questions, and also not easy to answer, because questions at this stage of life, they carry a lot of weight. It's not always about dollars and cents. It's about how they make you feel. You want to be at peace with them, and you want to have a clarity about them. It's more about a lifestyle than anything else. Hi, my name is Parnian Noroozi, a realtor in Los Angeles. Welcome back to my YouTube channel called Next Chapter LA, where we talk about all things real estate, and sometimes we consider simplified, smarter moves for you to deal with your next chapter in life. So today, let's tackle this question of rent versus buy and look at it from a different perspective. I'm going to break down the process in multiple steps and try to come up with questions that help you make the right decision. Step number one is actually asking yourself the right question. It's not the question of rent versus buy. This is what I tell my clients like Susan. I tell them that, do you want more flexibility, the freedom to move around, maybe lock the door and start traveling, exploring areas without any strings attached? Or do you crave more stability? Do you want a place that you can call home, that it belongs to you and you can do whatever you want to do? You might even want to paint all the walls purple or white with polka dots. Or I've had this situation that my clients wanted to just break the wall between the kitchen and the living area to have a bigger space. So you can have a lot of creativity and possibility with your new place and make it your own. So let's walk through pros and cons of this super important question, buying versus renting, and I will tell you what Susan decided at the end. This brings us to step number 2, which is all about renting. Renting actually can be the perfect fit for you at this stage of life. A lot of people don't want to deal with the maintenance of a big house anymore. You want something that is comfortable, no property taxes, no roof replacement, no plumbing surprises at the middle of the night that you have to rush finding a plumber. And also, you might want to be exploring new lifestyles and see, maybe you like it. How about trying a beach house by the water, or a bungalow in Culver City in a walking area? How about Pasadena? Maybe you want to try renting a cottage in the foothills of Pasadena. So renting gives you permission to explore. And sometimes the wisest first step after letting go of a long time home is just be free to explore. But also there's a flip side to it, which brings us to step number 3, which is going to be the buying option. Buying is more about stability, equity, and legacy. It brings something more powerful to the table. It's about ownership. And at this stage of life, that means that you're still able to choose and you still are in control. It's all about predictability and more often equity as well. If you use Prop 19, and you can always go back and check one of my videos that I made about Prop 19, you can also bring your old tax base rate to your new transaction. And nothing but that can save you thousands of dollars every year. But it also gives you a chance to downsize with intention. It also leaves a legacy, financial legacy for your loved ones. Or you can simply enjoy your house without the risk of being priced out should the rent skyrocket. And honestly, I always tell my clients, renting, you are making someone else rich. You're helping the landlord becoming richer. So if you have the means, maybe you need to think twice about renting versus buying. With buying, you make actually a statement. You're building something and you choose what to do for your next chapter in life. Of course, you can come back and tell me, but renting, we only spend this much. Buying a house, having a mortgage, it's a big difference. And that's very true. Numbers never lie, but they also don't tell you the other side of the story either. There's always two sides. Of course, we can always do the math, and the mortgage, in addition to property taxes, maintenance cost, that's something to consider. However, for my clients, and like Susan in particular, numbers, math was only part of the picture. What really mattered to her was to be part of a community, to have that peace of mind and the freedom to customize the space the way she feels today and not 30 years ago. So again, I always tell my clients, if the numbers make sense and the lifestyle fits, then maybe that is the right decision for you. So what did Susan do at the end? She sold her 4-bedroom house in Sherman Oaks after 30 years living there. She toyed for a while with renting. She even saw some nice condominium in Playa Vista. But at the end, she decided to buy a sun-filled condo in Redondo Beach. And you might ask why Redondo Beach? It's because her sister lived there. She had gone to school over there. So she knew she could be part of a community that think alike, they're the same age, and that made her feel so much better. Of course, in Susan's case, she made so much money from her previous transaction that she didn't need to take a new mortgage, and maybe she was privileged in that way, in that sense. But still, if there is a will, there is a way. So that brings us to, honestly, all I'm trying to say is that if you're still contemplating and you're not sure what you want to do, if you are still living in your house and you feel like you've outgrown the house and you don't want to be there anymore, and maintenance of it is becoming a chore, you don't feel comfortable being in a neighborhood that does not feel right any longer, you're not alone. Please feel free to reach out. Maybe we can brainstorm and just see what would be the best decision for your next chapter.